I had taken the holiday shift to earn some extra money. Most people hate working on Christmas Eve, but I didn't mind. I was 24 single and had no family nearby. Delivering packages in the snow was better than sitting alone watching. Other people's joy on TV thought it was around 8:40 p.m. when I got the final delivery of the night. The address was somewhere outside town, on a road I didn't recognize. I pulled up the location on the GPS about 25 minutes into the forested outskirts, where cabins and farms were scattered like forgotten memories. The snow was falling thick, and fast by then, muting every sound. I followed the narrowing road, the forest pressing it around me, the only lights coming from my high beams. Every now and then, I'd pass a mailbox half buried in snow or an old wooden fence half swallowed by the dark. I should have stopped then. Something about the road felt wrong, but I just wanted to be done. I turned onto a narrow driveway nearly, obscured by snow. At the end of it sat a house, not large, not small, lit by a string of faded Christmas lights. They blinked slowly, erratically, like a dying heartbeat. That was the only sign of life. I grabbed the package, walked up the path, and knocked. No answer. I knocked again. Louder. Nothing. I tried the bell. It didn't work. The windows were dark. Except one, upstairs, faintly glowing with a yellowish light. Then it happened. I saw someone behind the curtain. A pale, unmoving silhouette, staring, not shifting, not backing away. I froze. I wasn't supposed to enter the house, policy. But I needed a signature. I shouted, "Hello." Package delivery. Still nothing. I waited a full minute, then turned to walk back to the truck. That's when I heard the front door click. It hadn't opened. It had just unlocked. I swear I didn't touch it. It creaked open about 3 inches, revealing darkness inside. The lights above flickered again. I should have left, but something made me push the door gently. I called out again. "Anyone home?" My voice echoed in the hollow silence. The inside smelled old. Dust and pine. There was a tree in the living room, unlit and dry as bone, like no one had watered it in years. The package was heavy in my arms. I figured I'd just leave it inside the door. But then I heard footsteps. Upstairs. Slow. Deliberate. I turned. To leave? And there, through the frosted window by the staircase, I saw it again. The silhouette only now. They had moved closer. I ran. Straight to the truck. Didn't look back. The snow was heavier now, but I didn't care. I drove like a madman, slipping on the ice, heart hammering in my chest. When I got back to the depot, I scanned the address. Again, it didn't exist. The house number was invalid. No such property in the registry. No name. No one had placed in. Order for that location. The barcode. Wasn't even in our system anymore. The next morning, I went back with a coworker, just to prove I wasn't crazy. We found the road. We found the driveway, but there was no house. Just trees. And snow. No. Lights. No footsteps. Nothing but white silence. And the package? Still sitting in my truck. But the label was blank. It was supposed to be the perfect getaway. It got me, my girlfriend, Nicole, and two of our closest friends, Danny and Elise, had rented a secluded cabin in the mountains for Christmas. A snow-covered escape from the chaos of our city lives. No emails, no calls, no families arguing over gifts. Just us, the snow, and a fireplace. The drive took 6 hours, winding up slippery roads, past fading cell service and gas stations that hadn't been updated since the 90s. We arrived just after sunset on December 23rd. The sky was already ink black, and the cabin looked like something out of a postcard. Hand-cut logs, icicles hanging from the eaves, a thin column of smoke rising from the chimney. There was even a wreath on the front door inside. It was cozy enough. Rustic, a bit dusty, but charming. The fireplace crackled with fresh wood. The owner had left hot chocolate packets, a stocked pantry, and a handwritten note. "Merry Christmas. Feel free to use the decorations in the storage room." That night, we made a fire, played cards, and watched the snow fall silently outside the window. Nicole and Elise hung string lights and little felt ornaments around the cabin, laughing about how quaint everything felt. Then we heard the bells, faint, somewhere in the woods. A delicate jingling, like a sleigh in the distance. Danny perked up. Someone out there? I shrugged. Could be a neighbor. Elise peered through the frosted window. No lights. I don't see anything. We brushed it off as wind or some animal knocking something loose. But the bells came again. Louder. Closer. I stepped outside with a flashlight. The cold bit into my cheeks instantly. Snow crunched beneath my boots. I scanned the trees, nothing. Then I saw the bells. A small cluster of them hanging from a low pine branch about 10 feet from the porch. 5 or 6 tiny silver bells, tied with thin red thread, gently swaying. No wind. I went to touch them. Nicole yelled from the porch. Don't. Just come inside. I hesitated, then turned back. The bells kept swaying. Inside. We debated. Who would hang those? Was it decoration? A prank? But none of us had placed them there. Danny, always the skeptic, scoffed. It's probably some old hiker trail marker or a local's weird holiday thing. They probably just forgot it. We left it at that the next morning. Christmas Eve, we woke to nearly 2 feet of fresh snow. It had buried the porch and blanketed the trees. Nicole and Elise made pancakes while Danny and I tried to dig the car out. Around noon, we decided to hike a little into the woods, not far, just to explore. That's when we saw more bells every 20 or 30 feet, tied to low branches. We saw them. Always 5 or 6 per string. Always swaying gently. I don't like this, Nicole said. It's too placed. We turned around. When we got back to the cabin, one of the bells was hanging from the front door handle. We hadn't left it. There, that night, the mood shifted. We tried to keep it light, eggnog, charades, bad Christmas music, but the tension was creeping in, around 11:30 p.m. As we were winding down, Elise said she thought she saw someone standing between trees. Just for a second, she insisted. I saw movement, a shape. Danny and I checked. Nothing. But now we were scared. We locked all the windows and doors. Nicole kept glancing at the bell on the front handle. Sometime after midnight, I woke up to Jay Anju soft, directly outside. My window, I peeked through the curtain. Someone was standing by the tree line tall, unmoving, wearing a heavy coat. Or a robe, maybe. No face. Just a figure. And around him, bells hanging from branches. Dozing now, I woke Danny. He saw it too. We turned on every light, made noise, yelled out. The figure didn't move, just faded into the woods. We didn't sleep after that on. Christmas morning, we found fresh footprints in the snow, leading to the cabin, then circling it. Multiple times, we called the cabin owner. No answer. We tried calling 911. No signal. By noon. Elise started crying. She wanted to leave, but the car wouldn't start. The battery was dead, drained overnight. We packed, prepared to hike out, but the snow was too deep. We had no snowshoes. It would take an all day, maybe into the night. So we stayed. One more night. We boarded the windows, built a fire, took turns keeping watch. But sometime before dawn, Nicole vanished. She had been sleeping beside me on the couch. I didn't even hear her leave. We searched the entire cabin, screaming her name. Then we saw the front door open, outside, fresh footprints. Hers. Leading into the trees. And by the door, a new bell. This one different, covered in something dark. Sticky. We followed the prints for hours. They just stopped. No sign of her. Just another string of bells, tied in a perfect circle around a tree. We hiked out that afternoon. Elise filed the police report. They searched for days. Found nothing. No prints. No signs. No Nicole in the cabin. Burned down a week later. Electrical. Fire, they said. But I saw the photos. On the charred door frame. One bell remained, still swaying. There are places Christmas never reaches. I learned that at 8 years old. The year I was sent to live with my grandfather in rural Minnesota. After my mom died, he lived in a farmhouse that looked like it had been left behind by time. Cracked wood siding, a sagging roof, and a chimney that belched black smoke even in July. The nearest neighbor was half a mile away. The kind of place where wind howls like it's in pain and snow doesn't melt until May. He wasn't cruel, my grandfather. Just quiet, cold in a distant way. He never took down the clocks that had stopped ticking, never fixed the door that always creaked open on its own. But he fed me. He didn't hit me. That was enough. Christmas was silent in that house. No decorations. No music, no tree. On December 24th, I asked if we could hang stockings. Maybe light a candle. He stared at me from his chair by the fireplace and said, "We don't invite anything in here." That night, I dreamed of fire and ash. When I woke up, there were city boot prints on the wooden floor. I asked if he'd been up. He didn't answer. I'm 34 now, and I haven't been back to that farmhouse in over 2 decades, until last Christmas. My grandfather died in November. Alone in that house. No will, no instructions, just a call from a local sheriff saying the property was mine now. I didn't want it, but I had nowhere else to go. I just lost my job. My girlfriend had left. Everything was falling apart, and somewhere deep in me was the stupid hope that maybe going back there, maybe facing that place, would help me find something. So I drove out. Snow started halfway through Wisconsin and never stopped. By the time I got to the farmhouse, it looked like a painting, frozen, dead, untouched. I parked, walked up the creaking steps. The door was unlocked. The smell hit me first. Old smoke. Mold, something metallic underneath. The walls were stained yellow, the wallpaper peeling, and the fireplace looked exactly the same black stone, the same metal grate, and above it, scratched into the wood mantle like a warning, "He still comes down the chimney." I didn't remember that being there. I told myself it was some joke. Maybe my grandfather going senile. I stayed anyway. Had nowhere else to go. That night I lit a fire, poured myself a drink, sat in the same chair he used to. And when midnight hit, I heard the sound. Not wind. Not animals. Thump. From the roof, like someone landing. Hard. I froze. My breath caught in my throat. Then, scraping. Slow. Steady scraping on the roof. Like boots. Dragging through snow. Then. Nothing. I went to bed telling myself it was the chimney settling. Or the house shifting. But when I woke up, the floor was wet. Dirty. Covered in prints. Sooty boot prints. Leading from the fireplace. Across the room. To the stairs. And up. I followed them. Every step creaking like it wanted to scream. They ended at the guest bedroom door. Mine. Inside. The air was freezing. The window was shut. The vent too. But the cold was deeper. Like something had breathed it into the walls. On the pillow next to mine was a lump of coal. I didn't sleep the next night. I kept the fire roaring, didn't drink, didn't blink. At midnight. Same sounds. Thump. Scrape. Silence. I held a poker. By the fire. Waited. But nothing came out. No prints this time. Just the smell of smoke. And a shape in the mirror. A tall, dark figure. Not cloaked in red, but wrapped in something like burnt burlap. No face. Just empty dark where the eyes should be, and a gaping mouth, open too wide. I turned, nothing there. But next morning I packed out. I was done. Whatever memory, whatever nostalgia I thought would heal me, it was a lie. But my car wouldn't start. The battery was fine. Fuel full. Just wouldn't turn over. I called for help. No signal. Walked half a mile down the road. No bars. Walked back. More prints. This time coming out of the fireplace. Circling the room, and on the kitchen table, a single note. Written in coal dust. "You stayed too long." I tried breaking a window. The glass wouldn't shatter. Tried the back door. Jammed. Every sound outside was distant now. Like I was underwater. I went back to the fire, and there he was. Not. Coming down the chimney, but already standing in front of it. No footsteps. No movement. Just there. His skin was cracked like old stone, eyes like burned out stars. Smoke curled from his fingers. He reached into the fire, pulled out a gift wrapped box, placed it at my feet, then vanished. I didn't want to open it, but I had to. Inside, a photo of me as a child sleeping in that same bed, and behind me, his shape, standing. By the window dot waiting dot, I burned the photo, tore it into ashes, but the fire didn't go out that it screamed. A high, keening sound that rattled my skull. I passed out. When I woke up, it was Christmas morning. The house was silent dot empty dot, and I was outside, lying. In the snow dot no prints around me dot no sign of the door ever opening. Just a whisper in the wind. He still comes down the chimney. I sold the house. Burned everything inside before. I left, but I still hear the thump dot every Christmas. Even in my apartment in the city. Even without a fireplace dot, something lands on the roof dot waits dot and every year there's a gift outside my door. Wrapped in old soot-stained paper. I don't open them anymore dot because the last time I did, it was a photo of someone else dot sleeping dot with him standing over them dot, and the next year they died.